This is Reimagining the Contact Center. I'm Marc Bernstein, and today I'm interviewing Joel Martins, CTO at Calabrio. One of the things I love about this conversation is we're talking about not just what makes AI different and how this new era is totally different than all the other eras of technology, but also what's the same. What patterns can we see now that AI is taking that we've previously seen with internet, with mobile, with cloud? And Joel and I go into that. I hope you enjoyed this episode today as much as I did doing it. Everybody, this is Joel Martins, CTO at Calabrio. Joel, hey, really good to see you.
Mark, it's great to see you.
So, you have been in technology for over 25 years. You're a four-time CTO, and here we are now in the AI era, and it feels different than previous eras. So,
Yeah,
what do you think? What is different about this AI era versus other eras of technology that you've seen?
I think it's speed of innovation is is the real difference. Everything else kind of feels the same to me, actually. So I've been doing this since the mid '90s, I guess. And we had the initial hosted software craze, and then cloud came around. There were mobile devices. There's always been the next phase that's going to totally revolutionize the entire world. All of those phases, I think, the way I see it, are a continuation of the same theme, which is just be better, more efficient, and more productive using software, using technology, right? The difference now is the speed in which AI is improving and changing and enabling us to do really, really cool things. I can't believe how good it's gotten just in the last 6 months, 9 months. Yeah, so I'm the CTO of Calabrio. We build workforce engagement software. We, of course, like everybody that wants to stay current, have AI embedded into our software products. I mean, I see it every day. We use AI to do summaries of conversations between people in contact centers and their customers. And the feedback I get, because I see all of the comments come in through the product, the people that are using it are absolutely wowed at how accurate it is, at how fast it is. And that's all happened, we've gone from a concept or a possibility to people being wowed in less than a year. And when you think of all the technology that goes behind that, from LLMs to being able to do transcriptions if it's a voice call in real time or near real time, having that transcription be accurate in a world where people are speaking many languages, maybe sometime within the same conversation, regional dialect, like all of that is just changing so fast. It's an exciting place to be.
I like your observation that speed is the big thing that's changing here and everything else kind of is the same.
Yeah.
I think that, here in 2025, everybody feels like we have a pretty good idea of where this is going. Obviously, there's a lot of unknowns, but I think people can kind of just picture a few years out and go, oh, yeah, we see what's happening with agentic AI. We see what happens when this stuff gets smarter. If you were to go back in time and you would have run that same exercise in the dot-com era or mobile or cloud, did people have that same level of clarity? Like, were we right back then?
I think we were. It just took I mean, I was just thinking about this. When did the iPhone come out? 2007, 8, something like that?
Let's see. That's
Ask
today.
ChatGPT, it'll tell
Yeah,
you.
2007.
There you go. So I remember when it came out, and I was working at a company called Symantec at the time. Symantec was, you remember the days where you had antivirus running on your laptop. So I was working at Symantec. I was actually in the data center management division of Symantec. I was running the engineering team there. We built the software that all but one of the world's Fortune 500 at the time used to ensure their critical, mission critical data was always available. Anyway, so when the iPhone came out, we were a big software company, right? And so we were involved, so to speak, with people in Silicon Valley. And so a few people in our company got demo copies of the iPhone. We were playing around with the iPhones before they were publicly released.
Wow.
Yeah, and we were talking in 2007 about Man, this thing's cool. I bet we're going to be able to pay at the grocery store with this. Or
Yep.
we could use this as a hotel key. Our intuition as humans about what's possible is usually pretty accurate. And that's an example. Now, it took a decade before we could reliably make payments with our phone. Actually, more than a decade, right? 15 years prior to that, we were already dreaming of the possibility. It just took a while for the technology and infrastructure to catch up.
There's a law, and maybe I could look this up too. And the
Yeah.
law is like there's inevitability that when people come up with an idea, that the idea
Yeah.
actually ends up happening.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and it's kind of the concept that so many great technologies start from sci-fi. And
Yes.
I remember growing up, the idea of being able to do video teleconferencing and see the person in real time, that was still sci-fi.
Yes.
It was still
Completely.
sci-fi.
Completely. About the time the iPhone came out, we were doing teleconferencing like this, but I had to go to this dedicated room in the Symantec headquarters. My kids don't even use the phone anymore. They just FaceTime or do video calls over Snapchat. It's pretty remarkable that what we dreamed about at one point has come true. The delta between dream and reality is getting shorter and shorter and shorter.
Yeah. So what happens, like, because you can think about technology as like a system with all these different variables, and you have ideas coming into the system, and then you have different inputs from the rest of the world and what's happening with the global economy and just like
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
society is at and culture is at, and all that's coming into the system.
Yeah.
And AI seems that there's one knob on the system called speed and just went zoop and
Yeah,
turned it
exactly.
all the way up. How does that affect the system overall? Like when speed comes up, goes up, I'm sure, does that mean other parts break? Does that mean other parts, get like amplified? Like what happens when you turn speed all the way up?
I think it's gonna get back to the world needing people like you that, and maybe me, people like us that specialize in solving a problem, and our job becomes taking the noise out of the system. One of the things I tell my customers that they really actually appreciate is, look, I have a team of technologists and product experts and AI experts all around the world, and all we do all day long is research and development. Everything in some way, shape, or form has to do with AI these days. But we're figuring out that complexity as quickly as possible. So you, my customer, you don't have to. You can remain dedicated to your job, which for my customers is increase productivity, make agents absolutely super happy, and increase sales and service for their company. That's what the people that decide to hire my company to do work, that's what they need. And I enable them to keep doing that in better and better ways every day, but they don't have to worry about the AI noise. Now, there's another train of thought that I don't think we should go down on this podcast, which is what it's doing to the human brain to have all information available all the time and how it's making my ADD worse.
Oh, let's do it for a
But
second because I
yeah,
felt the same way.
man, I was just thinking this morning that I don't write anymore. I used to journal. I had a blog. You won't be able to find it. It's under a pen name. Well, maybe ChatGPT is smart enough now. But what I was reflecting on this morning is that the risk for me and probably others is because there's so much information, what I think is part of the unique human experience is creating. You've done with your company is create something. And there's just so much information that I think as humans we need to guard our time and energy and give ourselves room to create, because AI and just the proliferation of information is potentially going to take over, and then we lose something of ourselves if that happens.
That's such a good observation. I was thinking about it on a different direction, but I really like yours.
What was your direction? What were you thinking?
Well, I was thinking about how attention has changed quite a bit.
Yes. Yes.
Um, Truly, I cannot focus as well as I used to. And
Can't either. It's so
I
true.
I think about this kind of often. When I was in high school and I would sit there with a book and a lamp and study for 4 straight hours
Me too. Same thing. Yeah.
and take the SAT, and that was a 5 hour exam, and I'd have like a little pack of nuts for my snack, and I
Yeah.
got through the 5 hours, and now and I'm just on 100% for that full thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now, with I want to check my phone, I want to context switch, I want to go to different tabs. That's where I was originally going. But what I love that you said, Joel, was that there's so much information. And actually, what I would maybe add to that is there's so much high quality information. Not all of it's high quality, but if you were to say, I want to go on X and I want to be learning something every minute, you can learn something every minute for like a very long time. So you can always tell yourself, nope, I'm still getting more information, still learning, still learning. But then where does the point stop where you say, okay, that learning isn't really happening to the degree it's going to be useful for me? I probably should go to creating. Like the information has gotten so vast and the general quality of it is so good that the opportunity cost for creating is higher and people don't create as much. That's the thought you gave me.
To amplify your point, I've gotten so lazy in my desire to continually scratch the dopamine receptor that learns something in my brain that I don't even know what I want to learn anymore. I just found myself yesterday telling ChatGPT, hey, tell me something new. And I mean, I learned something. It
And
scratched
it did
that
it.
itch,
I bet it
right?
did it.
Yeah. And so yesterday I learned that an octopus has 3 hearts. And when it swims, 2 of the hearts shut down, which is very exhausting for the octopus. And that's why they like to just rest on the bottom of the ocean. So, hey, I learned something. But like, I mean, I could spin that thing up all day long. And
That's the thing is that's so cool. That is such a cool fact that
yeah,
makes you appreciate how different all the different types of life are on
yeah,
Earth and how complex it is. And the fact that it has 3 hearts and all these interconnected systems and it's trying to manage its energy appropriately.
yeah.
And that's why it does what it does. Like, that's a cool fact.
Yes,
That's the whole problem is why would
that's the
you
whole problem.
write when you can learn about octopus hearts?
Right. And I didn't even know I wanted to learn about octopus hearts until I asked ChatGPT and it told me.
So when with all I liked your analogy of speed produces noise,
Yeah.
and I actually started to visualize it and pictured how when cars are going really fast down the highway, you have the air resistance and it literally gets noisier, and that's kind of what we're all experiencing in technology. In the contact center space, how do folks break through the noise? Like, how do you break through the noise as a consumer, and how do you break through the noise as a technology provider?
Yeah, I mean, as a consumer, the way I break through the noise is I keep saying, talk to human, talk to human. I think it's months away, not decades, before anybody has that itch anymore. Like AI is getting so incredible at interacting with consumers that we're pretty close there. As a technology provider, what's changing is altitude of insight. Where I can provide value is the altitude's getting higher. So, an example, one thing that Calabrio we've done for years and years and years is we give contact center leaders the ability to go listen or read, depending on their preference, and depending on the communication channel, the interactions between their agents and their customer. And then Calabrio, we've had technology again for years and years and years that provides different tools for evaluating how that went, what some of the themes were. Mark, we're a similar age. I suspect I'm a little bit older. I don't know if when you were in high school or middle school, if an evaluator would come into the classroom with a clipboard
Oh yeah.
and like sit in the back and like write notes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so contact centers, one of the typical workflows is something similar to that, right? In fact, people in contact centers, there's people that have the job title evaluator, right? So that was critical to improving the operation of the contact center, having people that could go listen or read, understand what's going on. Now, this thread of evolution of productivity throughout the years that shows up in new ways, right? So if maybe 5 years ago, Calabrio we using machine learning had the ability to understand, okay, here's the typical themes that a contact center, like the themes of the interactions. And then we built a workflow that would point the evaluators into to themes that typically, based on other contact center data, would be problem spots. That whole system now is just ramped up, and the altitude in which we can provide insights and value to our customers is radically different. So all of that evaluation, you can, if you want, can use AI to do that, right? AI will evaluate the call. You can use AI to compare against like standard criteria for how you want to evaluate your interactions, like what was the sentiment, maybe, or do you have defined questions you want your agents to ask? Did that happen? Things like that. Right? You can use AI to take all of your interactions for the past week, month, year, whatever you want, and say, give me the top 10 themes or the top 100 themes. And then finally, you can use not quite AI yet, but it's business intelligence tools to wrap nice graphs, charts, and clickable things into a product so that a contact center agent, a contact center leader, they can start with, here's what's happening across my entire contact center in terms of what topics are people talking about, where is it happening, how long does it take, are my customers leaving satisfied or not? And then you can use that insight to dig deeper into the insights. But the altitude of the evaluation is much, much different.
What is the barrier that is preventing customers from having awesome contact center experiences? Like, how do we get to a world where the opposite problem is true and customers just love calling the contact center so much they just like they reach out and they don't really have a good reason for it. We're gonna have to navigate that volume. Like, what is the barrier to get from where we are today, where people still kind of view the contact center, consumers do, as a necessary evil? How do we get from there to the point where like it is just providing this tremendous value and good feelings and good associations with customers? Like, what is that gap?
You probably know better than I do, Mark. I think this is probably an area that you're in, probably one of the few experts in the world on this topic, honestly. But to me, I think it's, as humans, we want answers now. And our experiences with technology reinforce the expectation that we should get an answer now. And so when we go to a website for help, or have a question, or call a phone number because we have a question, getting the experience from wherever it is today to a point where people want to interact with that contact center is all about speed of accurate, helpful answers. That's the whole ball game. And this is where I think more and more humans and AI can work together to really answer that, really solve that problem.
I think when someone calls in or chats in or texts in a contact center or whatever channel they're using, I think the consumer goes in with the expectation, I'm going to have to jump through hoops.
Yes.
I'm going to have to sit there and just be dragged through some,
Yeah.
steps or experiences or processes
Yeah.
where they're trying to check their boxes, but like, and all right, I'm sure this is the best. You all have done this a million times. I know you have to go through your steps, so just go through your steps until we can
Yeah.
finally get my stuff resolved. I think people can feel the
Yeah.
like the overburden of all these
Yeah.
steps and processes that they have to go through.
Yeah.
And you can imagine perhaps the opposite example would be like when you go to a coffee shop and you go to a coffee shop and you order from the person at the checkout counter. Not always, but a lot of times it's a good experience.
Yeah.
They smile at you, they say, how can I help you? And then you know how to order, you look quickly order, and they don't say, I'm sorry, first, before I take your order, let me ask you like four questions. Like you get it right away. And that kind of creates a little bit of this, I don't know, social cushion where then you're able to kind of engage the person on an emotional level and kind of connect with them. But you can't do that if you feel like you're being dragged through a contact factory.
Yeah.
So I think that, that step one of I'm
Yeah.
going to get you the information that you want immediately so we can then build relationships, so we can then, connect as humans. You have to come into the experience knowing that you're first going to get the thing you wanted in the first place.
Do you see that getting better?
I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
But I also think it will get better slowly.
Yeah.
Uh, Not because the technology will take a long time. The technology in many cases is there and will be very there for almost every enterprise very soon. I see it taking a while because, it's kind of like, ugh, I hate to use this example because it's so controversial, but I don't mean to be in the controversy, but it's like the federal government.
Yeah.
Sorry, listeners. It's
Yeah.
like the federal government. We have this big government monster machine.
Yeah.
And like, how do you tweak it and make it more efficient? It's
Yeah.
really freaking hard. And then
Yeah.
someone comes in and goes, I know how we'll do it. We'll chop the whole thing down. And then
Yeah.
you have to deal with that.
Yeah.
So the contact center is kind of in a similar place where it's built up all of this infrastructure where when you take a step back, you go, maybe the infrastructure is actually between the company and the customer having the experience that everybody wants them to have.
Yeah. I think that's right. I think that's right.
So in the workforce engagement management category, Joel, one of the things we've seen is kind of the evolution of categories, you had workforce management and then workforce engagement. And usually a lot of these kind of are partially rebrands
Hmm.
to kind of keep it fresh, but there's usually some sort of additional insight or perspective saying, we're not just going to manage people, we're going to engage them. There's some sort of evolution there. Where do you see the WEM category going?
I agree with you. These categories are they're evolving things, right? Workforce engagement management came around with this idea that we put the human touch. For me, like the mission remains the absolute same, right? Regardless of category. And I think the mission for myself and my peers is help our contact centers gain insight into contact center customers, gain insight into what's happening in their operations so that they can do more with less. The agent, the person involved in that consumer to business relation, the human involved, that human's job is getting more and more and more complicated because AI is getting better at the work that doesn't involve creating. But the agent's job is getting harder. And my job as part of a workforce engagement management provider of software is to increase the productivity of contact centers, but do it in a way that the agent population is delighted and they feel like they're getting a warm hug from their technology every day. Similar to I think what you do as well, helping agents more effectively do their job in a way that sorts through some of the complication. And then finally, we part of workforce engagement management is simply forecasting how many people you're going to need. And that's turning into forecasting how much
Mm.
demand capacity you're going to need, right? Whether your agents are humans or virtual. And so I need to stay on top of that trend and do it really, really well. The last thing I'll say, and this is an area of research development investment from my team, is we are finding new ways because of AI to bridge these concepts together. The new category is called conversation intelligence, and we're bridging that with workforce management or forecasting and scheduling in new ways. Because now with AI, in real time or near real time, AI can evaluate whether or not a customer's needs are being met by interactions. And it doesn't require an interaction being over and then the evaluator picking a needle in a haystack to go evaluate, but AI can do all of that very, very, very quickly. We can see trends, even down to an individual agent, and then automatically schedule time for an agent to do something different. So maybe an agent using AI, we all having problems with a type of interaction. Oftentimes, this is because a business is running a new promotion, right? Like there's a sale and maybe there hasn't been enough training about the details of that sale that's going to happen. Well, using AI, we can sense this, detect it, and then automatically get training out into the agent's hands, even that same day. And then that time to do training is, again, automatically fed into our forecasting algorithms. So everybody stays up to date, neat and tidy, super productive. But we're at the same time increasing the productivity of the contact center and making the agent's life a little bit better, because we're detecting that. And in this example, maybe there's a sale and a whole bunch of agents, just need a few more details about the promotion that's going on. And
One of the conversations that I hear in the contact center space a lot now is, well, you know who wouldn't need training on a new sale? An AI agent that automatically knew everything. So let's get rid of all the people. Well, you don't have to train them. That you mentioned that maybe they're not doing well at a certain point of day. Maybe they're getting tired. Maybe it's
yeah,
after lunch. AI doesn't get tired. AI doesn't have the
of course.
the crash after lunch. What do you think? Like where is
Well,
the
so
future
have you
of
ever been to
people?
the
Yeah,
Austin airport, Austin, Texas? There's an airport in Austin,
I
Texas.
love the Austin airport.
Shout out to my friends in Austin. In Austin, there are coffee machines. So there's little vending machines. Then there's even an app attached to it. I could land in Austin, pull up that app, order my cappuccino, walk up to that machine, and theoretically the cappuccino would be there, ready to go. Just go there, click a button. I used it once and hated the experience because there was no human involved. I think the type of engagement will evolve and change over time, but I don't think it ever goes away. When it comes to AI never gets tired. Yeah, but AI fundamentally also needs a repository of information in order to learn. And in a world that is ever changing, there's certain things like today's sale that you're going to need us humans to interact with.
No one uploaded the new sale. Oh
Nobody
no.
uploaded the new sale. Yeah, exactly. Yes. So I think for me again, it's just the relationship and the extent to which AI is involved in all of our interactions is obviously changing. I think we can all calm down. The robots aren't going to take over the world.
The case I hear is that the economics are too powerful to ignore. It's hard because I Balto as well as Calabrio and I as a human, I really want to stay human committed.
Yeah, of course.
And then you hear kind of the chatter from the market, like, hey, so we want to fully automate the agents. Can we get rid of the agents? And you as someone who's building a business needs to stick by your principles, and you also can't put your head in the sand and ignore what the market's saying.
Of course,
So,
of
we're
course.
thinking about what is the right balance of people in your workforce and AI workers in your workforce.
The concept of balance also comes from zero sum
Hmm.
thinking.
Yeah.
I just don't think the universe works that way. Meaning, yeah, we can deploy machines to replace jobs that humans are doing, but provided we're always creating, there's always new things for the humans to do. Sure, AI is going to do more and more things that humans do today, and so that's great. That is optimizing productivity. Successful businesses are going to continue to create and come up with new things and new experiences and new ways of delighting their customers. And we're all capitalists, new ways of making money, and on it goes. But I think the true innovators and the people that are really successful see limitless possibility rather than just the zero sum. There's a certain amount of work to do, and the economics are too great to ignore. As a business leader, once I replace all of that work with AI, I'm done. Well, yeah, you're done. You probably don't have a business either because you haven't created anything. So
Where do you see AI going broadly over the next 3 years?
it becomes ubiquitous, right? Just like the phone became ubiquitous. We as humans are going to use it for everything. It takes a while, I think, intuitively for us to trust AI to perform actions. But once you have AI do something and it works a few times, you're going to trust it more and more, and that experience is going to happen more and more and more, and it's just a snowball after that. So whether it comes to self-driving cars or just answering whatever question you have or helping you write a paper, maybe helping us edit this podcast. That snowball is going to roll downhill, and it'll be important for us to keep creating new things and using AI in new and innovative ways.
Joel, this was super fun. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you.